Ugh. Why? Just why? Hey guys, Punch here, and we got Fantastic Four. Not the 2005 movie, but the reboot. So, let's just say I've already reviewed the 2005 film Fantastic Four. If you guys want to go check it out, but in case you have not seen it, like I said, go check it out. But on short notice, Fantastic Four 2005 was pretty bad, and my reasons are explained in my review of it. And I said I was gonna watch the 2015 reboot, and I did. Now, when this film came out, it got a lot of negative reviews from critics, and was arguably considered one of the worst Marvel films of all time, if not the worst Marvel film of all time. In fact, even won the worst picture at the Razzies. That's not shocking. So, I give the movie a watch recently today, and where do we begin? Yeah, I'm probably going to be agreeing with the majority of the critics. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be agreeing with the majority of the critics saying that this movie is one of the worst, if not the worst film in 2015. Yeah, this is probably the worst. This is probably the worst movie reboot I've ever seen. Yes, I think it's worse than films like Ghostbusters 2016. And yet, this film came before Ghostbusters 2016. I mean, a film about Fantastic Four should have been that bad. Well, 20th Century Fox and Marvel found a way to do it. I'm not surprised. But before we tear into the movie, plot first. So the film is about Reed, who is apparently using his teleportation invention. However, he ends up with a group of scientists, and he, alongside Ben, Victor, and Johnny, end up getting transported to outer space. However, during their quest in outer space, during the quest of outer space, they end up getting contact by this green lava substance, and eventually they end up getting in the way of they end up getting superpowers. So now, when you look at the 2005 film, you can see that one of my criticisms behind that movie was its overuse of unnecessary conflict, poor characterizations, and lack of action sequence. That's why I didn't like 2005 Fantastic Four. But it feels like 2015 Fantastic Four took full negatives and butchers them even worse. First off, let's talk about the characters, who are pretty bland and not that interesting. But probably one of the main criticisms behind the first film was probably that the fact that the characters' dynamics were really botched up pretty badly, to the point where most of the characters are hard to root at. As some of them were very unlikable, others were just uninteresting, or others just take their roles too seriously. Fantastic Four 2015 feels like that, but more worse, because you got Reed, who apparently leaves his friends behind. I don't know why, but he does. And then you got Johnny, who thankfully isn't as annoying as he was in the 2005 film, but again, he has little to no character in this movie. He has little to no character in the movie. And then there's Sue, who just feels like I said, like Johnny, has no character. And let's talk about the superhero abilities. Their superhero abilities. They're still the same, but the CGI here really doesn't improve. I mean, again, Reed's stretchiness is still distracting, although not as distracting as the 2005 film. Ben looks worse here because he looks more unsettling. I mean, in the 2005 film, at least you can kind of blend the skin and rock and the rocky. I guess you can like make out him, but here he's full on rock mode. I don't know. Maybe because his design here, his Ben's design here, is more unsettling. But probably one of the problems with the superhero abilities mostly comes with the fact that most of this movie lacks any action sequence. Yep, just like the 2005 film, there is no action sequence. It's just the characters being tested for their super abilities. But the problem here is that the pacing is horrible. Well, first off, the pacing, like I said, the pacing is terrible because you know in the 2005 film where it showed the Fantastic Four team becoming heroes. Well, they decided to cut through that scene and just cut to the chase where Ben's a hero now. But come on, this is a 5 scene. At least they actually had some effort to show that. Here, but what was here? They don't even show that. They don't even show that. Oh yeah, and then we get to my biggest problem with this movie. The biggest issue with this film has to be the fact that this film feels like it's more of a different film than a reboot. Why? Well, in 2005, you know that in the original comics in the 2005 film where the team end up getting their superpowers after getting involved in cosmic rays during a scientific mission. Well, that's not present in this reboot. Because in this reboot, apparently they get affected by green lava substance. It honestly just feels like the people behind the film didn't even watch the first 2 films before they made this abomination. But because it feels more of a different film. Oh, another difference is that unlike the 2005 film where the characters realized they had superpowers, and they're trying to keep it low leveled. That was the main purpose of the original movie. This adaptation, however, doesn't do anything with their powers. It just have the characters find out they have powers, then random test subjects, and then that's it. So, but again, the only reason, look, Fantastic Four 2005 had the characters relating and dealing with their powers as together, but this they're completely they're besides the Fantastic Four team. It doesn't really re-interact that much in the movie. I mean, sure, there's a conversation between Sue and Reed, but then again, that didn't last long. And in fact, there's another problem I have with this movie that I didn't really mention. The fact that this film, like again, has the same problems that it has unnecessary conflict, and when it tries to take itself seriously and has some conflict, boom, man, it's completely rushed. Like the scene with Ben and Reed and the Reed and Sue and Johnny and Sue, those are conflicts and moments to take seriously, and yet they just rush through them because we need to get to that 100 minutes. Again, if this film was a bit longer, I feel like they could have increased or strengthened the length of the conflict, but they don't do that. They don't do that. It's because we got to get to that 100 moment. Oh, and speaking of the lack of action, the action scene. I will admit, the visual effects look cool here, but my god, I felt nothing during that action sequence. And of course, there's Victor the villain, and again, Victor, we also got Victor the villain, who is one of Vision. Does not make any sense. Oh my god. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I want to also mention the fact that this film is also very boring. Like seriously, I think at one time during my first viewing of the film, I started to doze off, mostly because of how bored I was. The, well, well, maybe because this isn't the movie for me. But since I've already seen the 2005 film, I honestly feel like I needed to review this movie. And yeah, I agree with everyone when saying that this movie sucks ass. So, Fantastic Four 2015 is worse than the 2005 film. At least that movie actually cared about source material by having the characters relate with their superhero abilities. Here, that's not present. The characterization is confusing. There's the lack of action, the fact the serious moments and conflict being completely rushed, and the fact that this film tries to be different, tries to be more of a different movie than an actual Fantastic Four reboot. It also helps the fact that this film is freaking boring. And I honestly feel that this film was just made just to reboot the Fantastic Four franchise and try to like cash in. That's what I think. So overall, what am I gonna give this movie? Obviously, it's a 1 out of 10. Yeah, there's nothing good in this movie. And if you're a fan of Fantastic Four, you're pretty much I actually suggest go back to watch the 2005 film because you get more of that than here, because a good majority of the movie has nothing going on, so you're not missing out anymore. So yeah, screw this movie, and that's all I have to say. This movie is definitely the worst film of 2015. Even throwing Vacation, because at least Vacation, despite how much I hate the sexual humor throughout the entire movie, at least it was trying to be like a vacation movie, and then actually had some elements that were faithful to its 1983 predecessor. Here, I don't. There's nothing to defend about Fantastic Four 2014. It's easily the worst film in 2015, and yeah. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, and I'll be sure to post more movie reviews. And I'll see you guys next time. Adios. God, this movie sucks.